Business needs to be more human, but it doesn't mean always founder driven. Sometimes you are like, well, actually, my team, I want them, they are the experts at one of the things they do. So I want them to be spotlighted because I don't feel comfortable with this. And that is fine. I've seen actually brands doing it really well.
Yeah.
And they made it all about employee generated content. Everything they do is about the people, not even the experts at the back. It's literally about the people in the retail shop. You could do that if you have a small team and you want your marketing person or your assistant or whoever who deals ins and outs with your customers or your clients to be the person that actually talks about it. You can. If you want your customers to be the people and you find that they're willing to showcase things, that can also be leading your marketing. As long as it's human, that is where we're going. That, to me, that is where we're going.
This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al-Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Make Waves podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited about today's conversation because we're diving into something that I know keeps so many of you up at night, and that is the topic of marketing. And not just the regular general marketing, but how to actually make it work for your business without feeling like you're drowning in tactics and trends and all the noise out there. So today, I'm having a conversation with Fab Giovanetti. She's an award-winning marketer with 15 years experience under her belt, and she is currently the CEO of Alt Marketing School, where she's basically on a mission to make marketing more accessible and honestly more human. She's been featured on so many publications such as Forbes, Business Insider, and she was even named one of the top digital women to watch multiple times, multiple years in a row. But what I really loved about my conversation with Fab is that she really gets it. She understands what it's like to feel overwhelmed by marketing, especially when you're a business owner who's trying to do everything yourself. So in my conversation with Fab, we break down why marketing feels overwhelming for so many entrepreneurs. And spoiler alert, it's not something that you're doing wrong. It's because most of us were never taught the fundamentals. So we jump straight into the tactics, the Instagram reels, the emails, the SEO, without really understanding the foundation that makes all of it work. And here's the good news. When you get marketing right, it doesn't just help you get more visible. It directly impacts your business growth. It changes how you generate leads, how you connect with your ideal clients, and ultimately how your business thrives. And that's exactly what Fab and I dig into today. So whether you are handling marketing on your own and you're feeling stuck, or you're just not sure where to focus your energy when it comes to marketing in your business, this episode is going to give you so much clarity. Fab shares what actually matters, what you can let go of, and how to approach marketing in a way that feels doable and, dare I say, enjoyable. So I won't keep you any longer. Let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Fab Giovanetti. Fab, I'm so happy that you're joining me today. Thank you so much for your time. And a quick, again, side note before we start, congratulations on your baby. And I know you're like between work and maternity, so I really appreciate your time being here today. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And actually, I'm going to do the most annoying thing, Rana, that everybody does now, which is like bringing things back to other things. Let me explain.
Yes.
The kind of LinkedIn, there's like this new kind of LinkedIn ick that people have where it's like, I got married last week and this is what it taught me about business. So I'm going to do that right now and say, actually wearing...
Yeah, so I have a baby and this is what it taught me in business. Yeah, I know about
right
that.
on.
But I want to...
true though.
Yeah, it's true.
you
There's
know?
so many things that you get from life that teaches you things, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a better person probably.
I think that's what I've been learning. So it might come up today as we're talking about different things. Like this new hat that I'm wearing is definitely gonna kind of come up with some lessons. But thank you so much for the congratulations. It's been a wild ride so far.
Okay, no, I'm really excited to also share some of those. I want to start today with the situation that a lot of founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, small business owners, creators, uh, actually the people who follow and listen and watch this podcast are from that group, and today most of them face a very significant challenge when it comes to their relationship with marketing. It's like a love-hate relationship, and they get bombarded everywhere with different messages, and some of them some of the messages are good messages, but it's just the information that they're bombarded in when it comes to good marketing, if I can put that, use that word as in good or the right marketing. They talk about relationship building, authenticity. You have to pace yourself with this digital AI landscape, relationship driven marketing, all of that. You are a person who talks all the time about redefining how marketing can be a powerful tool for founders and entrepreneurs. So, why do you think there is this gap? What's going on?
That is actually a good question. Um, I'm going to try and be succinct because this could literally be one thing that I could talk about for hours, and that could be my TED talk, which actually is only 15 minutes. So I would already be out, basically. But the truth is, the reason why I struggle to answer this sometimes is because there is actually so many answers within the simplest thing, which is the reason why we have the ick, going back to the ick, when it comes to marketing is because we all have a different relationship with it. Marketing being actually about relationships already puts us into this little snake that eats his own tail, right? It's all about relationships, which means the way that we go about in personal life, bringing it back to personal life again, about building relationships is very unique to us, right?
Yeah.
So already, the only thing that I'm going to say that is a cliche, because it's true, is great marketing is about relationships, because great marketing is about direction, not persuasion. That's what I say all the time. That's what I say in my book, which is shocking, customer-driven marketing handbook, which means I'm going to talk about relationships, right? Because it's customer-driven. So that's the only thing that I'm going to say that is a cliche. It is about relationships because great marketing is about direction, not persuasion. However, to actually make it more tangible and not just throw words like authenticity at us, which again, some people have interesting relationships with. If marketing is about relationships and each one of us has a different way of approaching them, it actually explains why when we are reading advice that doesn't resonate with us, or there is very blanketed, or there is very much do this, don't do that, or that sometimes is even too generic because it's a couple of words just thrown at us, we can feel either disheartened, confused, overwhelmed, or once again, a bit like the ick, right? Like, oh, this doesn't resonate with me. And so what I try to say as a saving grace when it comes to some advice that maybe I don't personally agree with, but is still, in a way, it can still work. There is some that for me is just like a no, like, icky tactics, kind of urgency for urgency's sake. That, yes. But there are sometimes some bits of advice that I can see working for somebody because that's the way that they build great relationships with their audience, especially if you are a founder, or if you're a marketer that works with founders, or if you are a one man woman individual shop, right? So you do everything yourself. You are actually marketing yourself, which means you're actually sharing who you are and or your story and or your product. And sometimes you don't know how to do it because how you're going to do it is how everybody else is telling you to. And depending on the person that you have in front of you, they might tell you to do it in a way that is just not natural to you. So it's really about going back to the first step, or the step 0 even, which is, how do I like to build relationships? How do I find this as a concept? Is it something that scares me because I am shy, because of my history, because of my cultural history, my personal history, because of maybe my neurodivergence? Is that something that you live with? It doesn't matter. I think once we understand that building relationships doesn't come easy for everybody, and marketing is building relationships at scale, and networking, customer service, and all of that together, it's all really about talking to people and relating to people, and it can be exhausting. And when everybody's telling you that their way of doing it is the best, woof, that is a lot. So that's the short
No,
version of
no,
the long
no.
answer.
No, I love it. I love how you pinpointed key things. I would like to like kind of hover over them if we can. I specifically I like how you have a psychology first approach when it comes to understanding the business owner, better understanding their customer, putting themselves, empathy, putting themselves in their shoes, and understanding how what kind of tools do they need to use so that they can communicate better and build that relationship. And as a result of it, it's like a chain reaction. As a result of it, you tick the other boxes: the authenticity, the sustainability of keeping your marketing. So if we're going to take all of that, and we want to focus on the relationship part, in your opinion, I mean, what are the key principles that founders need today so that they can start that like, where's the point of start? It's always confusing.
See, that's also where I stopped myself, because I was going to say it starts with your audience, which is true. However, in general, as a brand, but especially when you're a founder and you're actually wanting to do yourself, or you're very close to the marketing, it is about your audience as much as about yourself. And that is the problem, because you will have the school of thought, in my opinion at least, that says it's always about the audience, which that's why I stopped myself, because that's what I teach our students. It is really about understanding your audience best. Whoever gets closer to the customer wins. And there's a few people that said it in the book. I actually referenced the right person because it comes from one blog post first. But Kate Burgoyne, who is incredible lady, who was really about biopsychology, she talks about it a lot. So she's one of the people that mentioned this too. Whoever gets closer to the customer wins. And I believe it's true. Understanding your audience better, understanding where's the intersection of who we think we're talking to and who we're really talking to is important. However, I've seen this now becoming what everybody says. And then I was reading actually a newsletter that I would give them credit if I remember the name. I read too many newsletters. And it was a copywriting newsletter. And they were saying, yes, but it's like, make your tone of voice all about how your audience speaks. Yes. But then if you lose yourself, or if you lose your brand, then it doesn't sound like you anymore. And I think the same goes with, the first principle of marketing. Yes, make it about the audience, understand the audience, talk to them, but also don't underestimate the superpower that is being you. And that already in itself can feel overwhelming, because I'm asking you to do two things, and maybe we can break them down, because I think these are great foundations.
Yes,
some of
please.
the stuff that we talk about in the book, right? Definitely understanding your audience, and there's tangible things we can do. I'm not just wishy-washing it here. So market research, like pinpointing them, understanding who are they versus who do I think they are. And then understanding your superpower, which means what makes you unique. It could be that actually your tone of voice, or your way of communicating, or it's either irrelevant to your brand, which could be because it's very plain, because your product speaks for itself, or it's just something that it's not, again, as unique, or something that you don't want to capitalize on. Our tone of voice, my tone of voice is incredibly unique. Sometimes people say half of your identity is the fact that you're a millennial, and it's true. And it comes across with me and even with the school, right? So for me, it's important. For some people, it's not. If that is not important, then maybe what you want to spotlight as who you are is maybe, again, the why behind your product. So these are two. And the third one, so I'm giving you three because it could be endless, and that's what, again, usually I used to work with when I was doing agency stuff, and now I help students understanding. So it could be the tone of voice and who you are and your quirks. It could be why you do what you do, or it can just be literally the story behind your journey, which can also be tied with the why, but sometimes it goes beyond that. Sometimes it's really like, I'm doing this because this is where I was and this is the pain that I had. So it can be your backstory, it can be your why, or it can be just your personality. I think these are three great ways to combine what you know about your audience and who you are, because marketing, if it is about relationship, you need to know who they are, what they're looking for, but you also need to know why you're the right person for them. And the product is right in the middle. And that's the third part, which I'm not going to get into right now. So I wish I could give you like a short answer, but this is the
No, there
shortest I can make
isn't.
it.
No. Please, no short answers at all, because this is, I think, thank you so much for mentioning all of that, because it gives so much clarity. Like, this is not a 2D. It's like there's a dimension to this relationship, and you, other than your product, but you and the customer are like in the center of this dimension, this being, this the space that you're trying to create for this business. So if we take these amazing three points that you've mentioned, can we say that today marketing for a business and all the tools that we need to utilize marketing for a business can be more powerful if we also add to it founder-led communication or marketing? Do you think today, with what's happening, with all the noise that is out there, these two need to work hand in hand, or are we still in a place where it's okay if it's separated and we can do marketing as a business alone versus founder alone?
Actually, so for anybody who's literally panicking right now and be like, oh my God,
no, I'm so sorry.
I need to be at the front of this right now. I don't want this to happen. You don't have to, because I'm actually going to give the middle ground. I like the gray area sometimes.
Yes, please. Gray is beautiful. It's in season.
It has to be human driven. So ideally, I want to see you. I would love to see you. But you're like, Fab, I make soaps. I don't know why soaps. I make handmade soaps, but I don't want to be the front of it. I don't, it's not about me. It's about maybe it's about the team that I have, a small team. Maybe it's about the customers because I do it because of the customers, whatever it is. You can make it human driven by not making it about you. Your personal brand matters, but I think sometimes because you feel that's the first thing you need to do, or that's the only way to tie things together. Once again, this is the way things should be done. Therefore, if you don't do it, it's not going to work and it shuts people down. So it doesn't have to be. I like it when it's like that because I'm a curious being. I'm a people person. But if we're looking at it as more as in the middle, as long as it's human driven, I think that's what is important. Business needs to be more human, but it doesn't mean always founder driven. I was literally talking to somebody today for our event series at the school, talking about meta ads, so just to give you some context. So still talking about content with people in it. And even our lovely teacher said, well, sometimes a brand is too big and the founder is not really the core focus, but we still have a human that is showed and showcased in the ads. This is just a micro level, but if you add it to the bigger level, sometimes you are like, well, actually, my team, I want them, they are the experts at one of the things they do. So I want them to be spotlighted because I don't feel comfortable with this. And that is fine. I've seen actually brands doing it really well. Think about, I know this is a more commercial brand, but let's run together. I'm in the UK and Curry's PC World is a very famous retailer that sells electronics, right?
Yeah.
And they made it all about employee generated content. Everything they do is about the people, not even the experts at the back. It's literally about the people in the retail shop. You could do that if you have a small team and you want your marketing person or your assistant or whoever who deals ins and outs with your customers or your clients to be the person that actually talks about it. You can. If you want your customers to be the people and you find that they're willing to showcase things, that can also be leading your marketing. As long as it's human, that is where we're going. That, to me, that is where we're going. Or the final option, but that is definitely not something that is easy. That's why I'm kind of like, I'm resisting it. Is mascot driven. It's not human, but a lot of people do that. And so if you look at it, there's still some sort of personalization. There's still some humanization, even if it's a mascot. Obviously, Duolingo is the first one that comes to mind. But so many brands are doing that right now because they don't want the people to be spotlighted, maybe just about, but they want a human element. So human first matters, but you can get creative. And I challenge you to think about whether that might be the best fit for you, even if it's just to start. And then you find out whether you want to be the face more. But I've seen brands doing it, and that's why I'm thinking like it's unfair to be like, it's not possible. I've seen it happen,
Yes,
big or small brands.
yeah, I agree with you. And in so many places around the world where culture plays a role, you see a lot of faceless marketing that is happening, but as you said, they humanize it. Either the customer is the hero, so that's the human element. They put more of their customers and their customer experience, or it's the behind the scene process. So be it the factory, be it the as you gave an example, the employees. It could be different things. I mean, I agree with you. There are big companies. I mean, first thing that came to mind was Lego, and Lego spotlights their customers. They are the people who actually vote for the new designs and new things that come out, and they do a lot of things. And I'm so grateful for you for mentioning that, because I think one of the reasons that a lot of founders are very skeptical about marketing is that because it looks really complicated to them. And by simplifying that, it is it's a toolbox, and there's so many tools in it. It's not just one thing and it has to fit everybody. It's not a cookie cutter. So I'm really happy that we're delving deeper into this. Now that we kind of established that marketing is malleable in that way, there are principles that you cannot ignore. And one of the main principles is human centricity. Today, we are being pushed more and more, and that is thanks to the democratization of media, where social media is the tool for, and the internet, of course, for our marketing. And because of the way it is, it's not human, it's not in person. There's a lot of how can I say, it's like having a one direction type of communication, and it's very hard to get all of that feedback. So now that we are in this stage, and now with AI put into the mix, how can founders build marketing systems that are sustainable, that are human centric, but they are also systems that give a solid foundation for them to later on scale in whatever form or shape that they want?
I love that. And I'm going to answer the question. I'm just going to add a little thing that you mentioned. This is, the micro tangent, the smallest tangent. I'm going to blame my mum brain. Is like that's what it is right now. It's just tangents.
Go ahead,
go ahead. Just in case anybody's feeling like social is a one-way conversation. One of my good friends, Sophie Miller, I'm going to mention her because she's amazing when it comes to social, at Pretty Little Marketer. She talked about this as well. And it's something that we talk about a lot. Our best-selling course is actually the one about community strategy. So not a shocker there. And she talks about actually how social is becoming more community-driven. So looking at DMs, looking at private communities, looking at broadcast channels, even on Instagram. So just to say, it's interesting that there is a two-way conversation happening in there. I just wanted to do this aside. So it is shifting. And as you say, it's all about the different tools in our toolbox and having the right knowledge or people. Again, that's why I recommend Sophie to look at for the tools that you want to use to know how to make the most of them, because they change quickly. That's the only thing about marketing. That's why there are marketers as well, I want to say, because it's okay for you at some point to let go. I'm talking about scaling, we'll get to that, of marketing. That will be my recommendation whenever you can, and have somebody that not only can do the work. It's good to have the manual labor, but obviously somebody that can execute, but also to have somebody that can take the time to look at what's changing, what's adapting, so that hopefully I can give you a couple of tips to build systems that help you scale, but also they are timeless in some respects. But most platforms are not timeless, like especially social platforms, especially hybrid social, even podcast that is not a social platform is changing, for example. So having an expert that can just not just execute, but also keep on top of it is very important. Aside, let's move on to systems and scaling. Really funny, because that's one of the things that I'm probably most well known for, because I'm obsessed with it. I guess the Virgo in me just comes out, and I'm obsessed with systems. So we help our students with marketing to hearts, but then funnily enough, we want to make marketing better for marketers and founders, which means I talk a lot about systems. Because, as you said, in order to scale and or let go of some things, we want to build systems. So start before you're ready, because then when you want to hire somebody, when you want to let go of some things, you already have something there to give them, a foundation to give them. So even before systems, actually, are going to be super annoying because you're like, Fab, this is not sexy, but it's the most important thing you can do. Start getting familiar with how you do things right now, even if it's a bit messy. You have already a system there. 90% of us do. Maybe it's literally writing things in your notes app and going with the flow. One of my students was like, but Fab, all I can do, and they are consultants, so they help clients, but they also do their stuff, right? All I want to do is just go with the flow. I have an idea and I just want to execute it, and I just make the time to record the content. I don't want to do all of this 3-step time blocking, and I don't like systems. And I was like, okay, so how do you do things? Well, I usually write my ideas in my notes app when I'm out for a walk. And then when I feel inspired, I put down there, I get my laptop up and my phone up, and I start recording. Okay, that is a system.
Exactly.
It's a system that is not maybe what you think is a system in the structured way, but it is your own way of working with how you work best. So if founders started tracking how they do things in their marketing right now, that will be the best investment of their time when it comes to systems, even before they set up, a content calendar system or a content creation system. Why? Because then when you are, first of all, when you are making your content creation, let's use system better, you know where you're starting from. Secondly, if before you make it better, you even start outsourcing some of it, you actually have something to give somebody. This is how I've been doing things. This is where things are. So I am going to use a big word, which is SOP, or that's an acronym, because we love acronyms in marketing, God knows why.
Yes, we do.
Just throwing it out there. Standard operating procedure, right? It's basically instructions of how you do things. If you build at least one SOP, one standard operating procedure for your marketing, one walkthrough. I love Loom. Just do a video, Loom it out, everything. Just talk like a crazy person. Again, now I'm talking to a 4-month-old. At the time of recording, she's 4 months old. I need to talk at her all the time. You know what I'm talking about. They're not responding. You just talk and talk and talk. So it's kind of funny because I thought that's what I do when I do recordings of all of my SOPs. I have about 150 by now. I've been in business for 11 years. But I have lots of videos, and some of them get outdated because I do a new one and then I archive them. But literally talking through, this is how I do my newsletter. This is how I usually post on social media, or how I edit the content, or where I put my captions. First of all, it allows you to see blind spots. You see actually what you're doing and where you're missing things. Secondly, it allows you to break it down better and see where you actually already have a system, as I said, even if you don't think you do. And thirdly, it allows you to outsource it. But even better, which is not intuitive for everybody, but maybe you kind of train yourself a bit to do it, you start seeing room for improvement too. Like for me, it's very intuitive because that's part of what I do day in, day out for our students right now as well. And I help them do the same. For some people, it's not as intuitive, but you will get to be like, oh, actually, this is taking forever. Actually, I could do this better. But it's hard for us in the thick of it when you're like, shoot, I need to post this new thing. I'm going to do it right now. If you're talking through it, you are like, actually, I could just get my captions in the same place where I get my, the breakdown of my next carousel. That will make life easier. But you don't know until you actually are reflecting. And it's easier to reflect when you're talking through things. So yeah, it's not a system as per yet, because honestly, there are plenty of people that will show you their systems and they're all great. But breaking down instructions and standard operating procedures or how you do things is going to be so powerful tenfold for plenty of reasons. Hopefully I give you enough reasons why it's good to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And also collecting data. Like even when you're doing it, you're like, okay, so I've been doing this for a while. How is that impacting my business? How is that impacting the customer relations? Maybe, I don't know. It depends on what SOP you're doing. Or how is that impacting my time management now that I'm planning maybe to launch a new product or an addition to a product to the product line. So it's here's the thing. It's while we're doing things, and now that since we're talking about also social media and marketing, while we're doing things, there's a lot of noise. So people get distracted. So you think that you're you're doing something, you don't wait until the results are out, and then you try something because it's this new shiny object, and you kind of miss the opportunity of seeing which one works and which one doesn't. So because the attention span is like decreasing everywhere, not just for the customer when it comes to digesting information, but also for us as founders in creating that the content, or creating all of that material. What do you think are certain things that no matter what happens, no matter what shiny things come out, they should always be tracked, they should always be systemized, like people cannot ignore or try to outdo it into another system? Like, are there certain things when it comes to social media and marketing that founders should not put aside for something else, that somebody's saying that they can, I don't know, gain 1 million followers in 5 days?
I'm trying to think if I can give you something that is actually super social media related. I think I'm going to go more into customer attention. Everybody,
Sure.
apologies. And kind of that kind of stuff as well. But also I love you talking about the love of data, made me all fuzzy inside.
Yes.
I'm weird like that. People get excited about lots of things. I get excited about data. I'm sorry about people. That's why I do what I do. In general, I think I talked about it before, getting obsessed with your customers and as much as or audiences, as much as you can know about that to me, it's invaluable. And you can actually get some decent insights now on social too. Mm-hmm. It depends, to be honest. I think it's only going to get better because people are desperate for it. But not just things like demographics, right? Which we know, and if we don't know, it's things like location and age and things like that. But also psychographics. So starting to understand some of their preferences, even if it's just other people that they might follow, type of content and formats they resonate with. Like if you're looking at social specific, for example, just kind of what content do they love? And then the only thing I'm going to say to that, because it's a thread, hopefully, that you can see. When you're learning these things, it doesn't mean that you have to be, I'm going to do carousels because my audience loves it. But writing a carousel to me is almost as equal as, what is something really irking? I'm trying to think about putting my feet into water full of ice. I don't know. I was trying to think of nothing too terrible or too macabre. But you know what I mean? If you hate it, it doesn't mean you have to do it, but at least you get the knowledge, you know? So there is a lot to be said about this data. It doesn't mean you're going to completely shift what you do, but you're going to ask yourself, do I need to match where they are at, or do I maybe need to talk to other people? So social data can be really powerful. Psychographics, it's harder to get them on social, but lots of questions, even just a poll on social, even not necessarily like on email. Those are even better because you can get more info if you do a longer poll, but it can be a simple survey with a one question on a poll or in a broadcast channel or a question sticker even somewhere. All that data is invaluable. Reviews and testimonials, as they stand, great, but also what data can you get from there? And I think that's where AI can really help. So having a system to gather data, it's powerful. We do it in our newsletter, in our emails. We ask people a couple of questions. That is good to segment them, yes, so to send them specific emails, but also it's stuff that we can use for the future. So that we actually know that, you know, we ask different questions at different times. We start learning what are their main problems. We start looking at some of the things that they download versus others. So if you can get obsessed with the behaviors of the people that you already have and the people that you want to reach, and find a way to systematize and automate that as much as possible by asking questions at different points, and the data to be found can be a spreadsheet. We use Notion a lot. That's where we put our stuff. Yeah, that is so powerful, because then if you ever want to use, for example, AI to process some of the data and give you some actual insights instead of loads of rows, then you can do that. So to me, that is very powerful. Gathering information about my customers in a way that's easy. It's almost as important as, again, systems to create content faster or things like that. The only thing I'm going to say though about content and stuff like that, so that's one thing which is huge. And I will say always start with one thing. What is the one system that you can set up that allows you to get to know one more thing about your audience? Maybe it is a monthly survey, whatever it is. Maybe it is a form with one extra field that has the right question. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. The other thing that I'm going to say, which is a bit broader, which might be more exciting for some people, is just a backlog. Have an archive of your content. Evergreen is usually best, but it might be that you want to just archive everything. Have an archive of it. You can. I find that sometimes when it's super timely, I'm like, it's okay. But if you can create an archive, and even better, automate it so that everything gets in there. But if not, you just manually add it there or have it there first and then you post it. You will not regret it, because I find that some content doesn't age and some ideas don't age, and you can repurpose them and repackage them. So the sooner you start, the better. If you haven't started it yet and you have 500 pieces of content, I'll say pick your battles. Yes. Some people will be like, oh, now I need to put it all in there. Like, no, queen, no king. You don't start where you're at and start from today, and that's also fine. So yeah, prioritize the audience stuff if you can. I would say the content always feels more exciting because it's like a bank of things you can reuse, but the audience stuff, that is the gold. So I know it's like the carrot and the stick. Go for the stick as well. Just don't go for the carrot.
Yeah, exactly. And you've mentioned a couple of things. It's although there is this misconception that data can only be collected on social. I love how you also integrated other marketing tool, like within the marketing overarching umbrella, email marketing, any kind of research that you can create. Some people do it on the ground, some people do it through social, through email. Data is really, really important. I think one of the things also that, and that's my final question on social media, because I want to get into your school, because this is going to be this is something that I'd like to dig a bit deeper on. But one final thing on social media, a lot of business owners, they use social media for it's like a conditioning that's been happening, if I can use that word, that social media is successful when it's all about the follower count, other than the metrics, but it's all about talking to the audience, doing things that might go viral or at least popular. While, for example, in my line of work in communication, there's this I always try to tell my clients, what is the purpose of business owners using social media? There has to be something that at one point or another has to kind of impact your business, and impact not just through sales. It could be through awareness. It could be through building loyalty, anything, but there has to be a reason for that content creation. Marketing wise, I'm sure the principles are the same, right? I want to get your opinion about best utilizing social media in a way that it's not just what we see in terms of pushing content out there for one single reason.
Audience research and even just customer research. I'm going to add another thing as well, is talking about spotlighting your customers or your employees or your team or whatever, or your clients. That's another thing as well, is also building loyalty and advocacy. We don't think about that as much. We're talking about push. Telling stories, great. Credibility as well, obviously. But I'm going to say something that maybe we don't think about all the time, which is loyalty and advocacy, rewarding the people that are already there, creating special moments for some of the people that have been following you and being loyal to you. Maybe it is somebody that responds to one of your stories, I don't know, and you go and you can do a bit of a stalkery thing. I mean, it's public, so you go and check out what they're posting, what they're doing, and you say, maybe you send an audio. You don't have to do it for everybody. Pat Flynn, I remember he said in one of his books, he would do it once a week for one of his followers, for example. Mm-hmm. You do a little audio and be like, hi, thank you so much for taking the time. Love to see what you're doing. And maybe you see something in common that you had. Maybe they celebrated something, and you just take the time to notice that for them. So that's another example. That's almost like a surprise and delight, something I talk about in my book as well, the Customer Driven Marketing Handbook. I talk a lot about that. And I talk a lot about loyalty and advocacy because we don't think about it enough. So it's less about thinking about growth, which is great. I always talking about the season of marketing, and is the season of business is the same. In some seasons, you're going to be more focused on growth. In some seasons, you want to be focused on sales. In some seasons, growth might look like awareness, right? So just getting new people to see you. But then in some seasons, you want to focus on slowing down or you should slow down and think about the people that are already committed to you. How can you celebrate, support, surprise, and almost reinforce your relationship with them? So I don't know if it answers the question. I'm trying to keep it brief, this one, but that's one of the things that I think is worth thinking about. Are you doing that? And if not, how can you do that? And how can you not incorporate it? Because I don't want to keep adding things. People are like, for fuck's sake, Fabio, keep adding things to my plate. Alternate it with maybe some of the things you're already doing, some of the things that you want to be doing. Can you have a season of, let's call it celebration of the people that you have in your world?
Yeah, and this is what makes things sustainable. I mean, there's this increase in burnout. There's a lot of talks when it comes to mental well-being because of the burnout that is happening with founders. It's because I think they treat their business as one season all the time, and I'm totally with you. I totally agree on this point of there has to be, just like anything in business, even you as a founder, there has to be seasons within your calendar when it comes to connecting with your customer and having your business go through that flow, so that, again, we go back to the data. That's where you collect the data and assess how was the flow this year, how was our quarter and all of that. I want to move the discussion to your school. Now, Fab, you are the founder and one of the educators on Alt Marketing School. I believe it's Alternative Marketing School, like Alt for Alternative. Yeah. And what I love about this, I mean, I think I stayed for like a couple of hours on your website on alt marketing because there's just so much value there. But what I really enjoyed about this, the community and the school that you're building, is that it really factors in marketers or business owners that are wanting to utilize marketing at different levels or at different stages that they are in. You have things in there, like some of the courses that you have, some of them are from the basics, but there are others that are just absolutely so cool. Craft a value-driven brand. Brilliant. Building a customer persona, the psychology of engagement, purpose-driven copywriting, value-driven community strategy. We talked about that. We touched on it in the beginning. Mastering marketing funnels. So can you tell us more about this, your alt marketing school, and why do you think, and this is honestly, I'm just going to put it out there. This is what I believe in. Yes, I'm a person who has gone to university and graduated. And yes, there is great things about going to uni, but there's a different thing when you kind of step up your skills or even learn new skills from people who have been doing it on the ground. So it's not just, a curriculum that you have. It's not just principles. So can you tell me more about alt marketing school and about the different courses that you have?
So the school was born mainly because I felt that marketing education was missing something. Now, the funny thing is that I didn't go to uni to study marketing. I studied languages. I know Russian, just don't test me on that because I don't remember it no more. But I did English and Russian at uni, and literature and language. And so I don't devalue the power and the importance of more traditional education either. However, what I found is that the more adult training, the professional development, and the training that comes sometimes after uni or instead of uni, if people want a more practical way to do things, and also in the day and age that it is now, even 5 years ago when I started the school, it is pricey. I wanted something that, one, could be more affordable for many, and also that, thanks to some of our sponsors and partners, can be as low as pay as you can, or even complimentary for with specific partnerships and scholarships we have. We're trying to make things as affordable as possible, and that's also, again, thanks to partners and sponsors that we built over the years. because I want to make marketing as accessible as possible. And that is both from teaching people how to make marketing accessible, but also by making the education accessible. And then what I realized as we continued, and that's a lesson for anybody, as I said at the beginning, what my wedding taught me about marketing, I guess, but what my business taught me about actually marketing and just running a business is that things will evolve, and the more you listen to your people, the more you understand what they need. And I thought that actually maybe at the time our students needed more different type of education, like a different curriculum, different type of learning, more heart driven, etc. What I then learned in the last year or so, there's been a shift where yes, they want the hard skills, and we teach SEO, we teach, as you say, things even like marketing funnels, and also value driven marketing still has some hard skills in that. But also what we have built is a space and a place that makes marketing better for marketers as well. So we give them the tools to make their marketing more efficient. We give them a safe space to ask questions about how to make things more effective, or to connect and to share ideas when, if you are a marketer, but also if you're a founder, you ain't got time. You talked about burnout. You ain't got time to do nothing. If you're a marketer, you have 15 campaigns. If you are a founder, you're wearing 17 hats. We wanted to give a space that allows and welcomes not just ideas, but also gives some feedback, gives some prompts, and gives next steps, then action them. So I think this is how I built the school. I built it at first with one need, and then I pivoted so much, I almost swiveled. And that's the only way we survived, because there have been dark times and there have been growth. There's been a bit of both. So I'm always honest about that. And I think the biggest thing that I realized is that, we say marketers need marketers, and that's the latest tagline, our initial tagline, which is still there, is market to hearts. And that's the main thing. But we realized that then things had to shift, because our audience was wanting as much as hard skills, which is where we are at school. So that's why it's not just like, a couple of educators just teaching what they learn. We actually have accreditations for some of our short courses, which means that you get actual points in the CPD, which is one of the traditional professional development bodies. So we actually want to give you something you can use for your work. You can add as actual official training. But at the same time, people also wanted a safe space to become better marketers. That is tangible, that is very much about their confidence and about their skills and about their time. So we had to evolve. We listened to your customer, take the time. We saw the patterns and we understood what they wanted, not just because they said it, but because of the things they didn't say, or because of the things they did, or because of the little in passing comments they made. And that allowed us, I think, to really differentiate ourselves and be alternative, not in one way, but now in multiple ways, which is really powerful.
Yes. And what I like is because, there are so many new things that come sometimes under the realm of marketing, the updates are more frequent, but you're with this venture of the school, you have created a community, one of the courses that you give, but as also a founder who has designed a community. How does that community become a marketing tool? Because we talked about always listening to the customer and being in connection with the customer. You've done it with your target audience and by creating that community as a marketing tool. How are now communities more important than anything else before in terms as a marketing tool? Firsthand, how do you feel about it?
Fun, quick side note and context. I used to run my previous business, 11 years in business, 5 years with this one. My previous business was mainly a community and events.
Wow.
I'm never going to do it again. I love communities, but it's too much work. I'm never going to do it again. God damn it.
You did it. And it's amazing. The feedback that is on the website, and I was going through, telling you, I didn't even realize the time. I was on it for a couple of hours because of the stuff that was being said, honestly.
See, that's what's important, to get what people say and ask them for feedback, because then it catches people's attention. Anyway, I'm going back to the customer thing, but no, the point is I didn't want to, but it just happened. And I am a facilitator. I know that I am, and I know that I can build that energy, and I can, and I love it, and it's easy for me to do. So unknowingly, but what we've done, which is different, which hopefully is a lesson for other people as well, is that the community is a part that people can choose to be part of if they want, just to learn, to take it, and then take what they got and go away and do it. We also allow them and encourage them to do that. And I think, because I know our audience, so I think it's always about your audience. Like, our audience is busy marketers, and some of them think they want community, but then when they get in, they actually just want a simple path and different things to learn at different times. So we tell them that they can choose. And sometimes even the people that say, oh yeah, I'm here for the community and the connection, they don't do it. And at first we thought it was because maybe we didn't make it obvious or clear enough. And then we realized it's just because they thought that's what they wanted. Because some people that want to, they actually do engage in the community. They are there, they talk, they ask questions. So sometimes just we think we know what we want, but actually our behaviors tells us more. So that's just to say that sometimes I think there's lots of value in community, but also, one, try it if you're not sure if your audience thinks they want it versus they want it. Two, is more work than you think. So that's also always good to try it and see what it works like. And three, actually, if you're afraid of trying it, I was literally having a conversation with a friend today about something that she did in business, and she felt like people are going to remember forever because she tried this thing, and maybe it's going to be flopping. And I was like, babes, people are not going to remember next week, let alone in 6 months. Try something. The worst thing that, as long as if it's something that people paid for or committed to, do due diligence. And if you cancel it, refund people, or be open and communicate. It didn't work. This is why it didn't work. Whatever it is, right? Whatever the boundaries and responsibilities are, honor that. But aside from that, after that's done, people are going to be like, okay, all happened, clarifying, communication is clear. This has been discontinued, closed, refunded. Fine. What's next? Honestly, people will forget. Honestly, people will move on to the next thing. And I think that's a lot of fear when it comes to building some of these things that people are going to remember forever. If it's not going to serve you and them, then do what you have to do and then move on.
Yeah, and there's different forms of community. So you have the community that you have within Alt Marketing School, but I mean, there are people who have communities when it comes to their email newsletter, and there's a whole community there of people who, there's a way of having a back and forth and understanding. So there's a community is as long as people like you make your customer feel they belong to a place. They feel that there is a means of communicating back to you, getting feedback, giving feedback or whatever, but at the same time feeling like they are receiving something special because they are part of that community. So we can, there's so many different ways of looking at community. It's not like one size fits all. Fab, I can talk to you for ages, but I want to wrap up with something. So other than you being the great marketer that you are, the entrepreneur that you are also an author. So you're actually a 3-time author. So you have Reclaim Your Time Off. That's one of your books. Your other book is Make an Impact, but the new one that is coming now, where people can pre-order, is the new book is The Customer Driven Marketing Handbook. I just pre-ordered mine. So can you please tell us what do we expect from this book? What are we going to learn from this book?
It's a mouthful, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't say. The publisher will be like, "Fam, what are you saying?" But it's a mouthful, that title. But it is that. It is a handbook, and it's I don't even know how many words it is anymore, because obviously we did the final edit. Definitely over 75,000. So anybody, it's a lot, but in a good way. We got lots of lovely people that read it, early readers, and they said they're coming back to it again and again. So it's not just me. Once again, other people said it. It was yet another labor of love. Fun fact: so that when you're reading it, you're thinking about it. I was pregnant by the time I started writing the first draft, so it literally grew with me. And my baby girl is dedicated to her as well, because I feel literally the due date of her coming out was going to be the original due date of the manuscript. And I was like, these two things are not coming out the same week. Trust me. The first draft has to be done earlier than that. But it was in itself a labor of love. what I wanted to create is, this is the first book that is just about marketing. My other books have been about myself as well a bit, and about my journey as an entrepreneur too, whereas this one is really about marketing. And I thought, if people do not want to commit to the school, cannot yet, they're not sure, this will give you everything that I've learned in the last 15 years when it comes to building great strategy, great marketing that is based on brands that I love, case studies that I love, and also principles that I believe in that are built around the relationship building element, right? And then if you want to obviously dive more, kind of learn more, there are other ways that I can help. But I thought, if that's all you needed, I'll give it all to you, and then you can go and do, and you can go and execute it all by yourself. So yeah, it's a big boy.
It's a big boy. But no, and it's a handbook. So it's something that you can go back to, and maybe go back to your initial notes. And it's like, how can I say? It's going to be part of your journey. Having a handbook. I've read a couple of handbooks before for other topics, more about self-empowerment and all of that. And I have to say, especially when you need something that can help you with accountability and to kind of clear the ideas, it's great to have it in a handbook format. So I can't wait for it to be out. Just a quick thing for everybody who's watching or listening. Other than the link to Alt Marketing School or Fab's books, Fab was so kind to share with us some amazing free resources. There's going to be links in the show notes for the awareness days. And there's one which I think it's really cool. You guys should try it. It's the marketing personality type. It's a quiz. It's easy. It's fun. You guys will enjoy it. And it will give you, some really close results. There's also another resource, which is your favorite tools. Your favorite tools to use as a marketer. So thank you so much, Fab, for sharing these resources with us. And I'm gonna ask you one last thing before we go. What is next? Because I mean, I don't know how you do it between being a new mom, publishing book number 3, and of course having your school and having your students and partners. I mean, you've collaborated. You've done more than 250 workshops. You've collaborated with big names like SEMrush and Planable and Jolt. So do we have something new coming up this year, or is there something that you've been working on for a while and you're kind of revamping and we should keep our eyes on?
I mean, I'm sounding just tired by just like thinking about all the things that I've been doing this year. I've been talking about.
Please take a break. Leave some for us, please.
I mean, I'm just coming back from maternity leave, so that kind of puts in perspective. But then, as a business owner, maternity leave is always it's a bit short. The whole joking aside, well, there's the book coming out. I think is the biggest thing right now. Book coming out, and then just iterating. We always have. We pace things, but we always have new things in the school. I think the last thing that is out by the time of this coming out is we are just getting accredited our latest short course, which is all going to be about planning and executing seasonal campaigns. So whether it's holiday season, whether it's Black Friday, any other season, you might have other seasons that relate to you. So that's one of the things that we're pushing, that we're working on. I just sent it for accreditation, so hopefully that will come out. So that's me putting out to the universe. But yeah, just pacing things, we pace things nicely. We keep an eye on what's new, what we can do as training. And that's what I keep doing. And actually putting everything in the school and the book means that I can do a few things very well and then take the rest of the time to do sensory activities with a tiny person,
yes.
which has become my new thing now. So it's kind of nice to have that. I don't believe in balance, because I believe balance means that you're doing things and they have to completely match. But I believe I'm finding a new rhythm, because rhythm means it can look different and it can be swaying in different directions depending on what I need on the week or even on the day.
Well, thank you so much, Fab, once again for being with us. We really appreciate it. As we've said before, all the links will be in the show notes, so you please feel free to connect with Fab on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And I hope we have you back on the podcast, Fab. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.